She left years ago. Left the stories, the sounds behind the walls, the door that locked itself at night. But something remembered her. And now, so will you. They say fear has a memory, not in the mind, but in places. Rooms, pages, echoes. Angela had lived alone for 5 years. It was quiet, stable, until the storm last Thursday, the night her lights flickered and the book appeared. She'd thrown it into the fire once, watched the cover blacken and curl, but it returned, dry, intact, the same faint stain in the corner. She opened it to a page that hadn't existed before, but somehow she recognized every word. And then she heard the first sound. Breathing. Not hers. Simultaneously, at a neuroscience institute across town, a team studying emotional response to horror fiction hit an anomaly. Their subjects all reported seeing the same figure, a woman reading, words not spoken aloud, but heard, deeply. One patient collapsed mid-scan. They found his notes afterward. She's reading again. Tell her to stop. By the third night, the outages grew longer. Not just her block, her entire street. The local grid couldn't explain it. She didn't call to report. She didn't call anyone. Her voice had begun to change. Not deeper, just unfamiliar. Neighbors reported hearing someone reciting passages from a basement window, though she didn't have a basement. One man knocked to check on her. He walked away sobbing, but couldn't remember why. Weeks later, the story drew national attention. A retired detective began connecting dots. 3 disappearances, identical mental breakdowns, and all of them had lived within 2 miles of Angela's house. One officer recalled a past case from decades ago, a woman named Evelyn who vanished under near-identical circumstances in 1984, last seen reading a similar book. She said the book talks when it rains. We thought it was metaphor. It wasn't. A host for the ink. The book began to shift each night. Different stories, different ink. Some were written in languages she didn't speak, but she read them anyway, fluently. Her eyes no longer moved left to right. They darted, as if following something on the page no one else could see. Whatever she was reading, it wasn't for her anymore. It was through her. Over the course of 9 days, 4 neighbors vanished. 2 were found wandering the park, unable to speak. One left a voicemail for his daughter. Just 7 seconds of screaming, followed by the words, "Tell the reader to stop." Angela's home was sealed off. Police said it was a safety precaution. They didn't say who asked them to do it. And the book was still there, open. Her final known appearance was captured on a neighbor's Ring camera. She walked past the living room mirror twice, but only entered the frame once. The mirror began showing a room that no longer existed, her aunt's room, perfectly preserved. But her aunt had died in 2009, and the furniture was burned. She read for 36 minutes straight. Her final live stream, set to private, showed no visible viewers, but thousands of devices across the region powered on simultaneously. Some began typing, others recorded audio, all repeating the same final line. "The ink needs a host." They never found her, not a trace. But in the quiet of the storm, in flickers between outages, her name appears. Not written, not carved, typed. What was she reading? And what started reading her? The Neighbor's Folly. Before Angela disappeared, before the voices, 2 strangers moved into the forgotten part of town. 2 derelict houses left behind by time, sharing a fence that barely stood. On the left, an industrious woman named Cora, her eyes focused, voice calm, methodical in her planning. On the right, an ambitious man named Thomas, confident, competitive, always 2 steps ahead, or so he believed. They struck up a deal, restore the homes side by side, make the street worth living on again. They'd document it, celebrate it. But restoration isn't always clean. Some things refuse to be reclaimed. Cora's work moved slowly. She was careful. She measured twice, cut once. But strange delays followed her. Tools vanished. Lights refused to stay on. Every blueprint she drafted eventually changed overnight. She found something behind the kitchen wall, a gap, a hollow. Inside, scraps of burnt parchment and the corner of a book cover too brittle to touch. Thomas noticed. He started watching her more often, first from his porch, then from his attic window. He wrote things down every day, not just what she did, but what she said in her sleep. He claimed her delays were sabotage, that she was cursed, that her house wanted to stay broken. Neighbors heard shouting, then silence, then a single metallic sound, like a tool falling or striking. They found Thomas first, or what was left of him. His notebook burned at the edges. The final entry read, "She opened the floor again. I saw it too." It wasn't her face looking back. Cora didn't run. She was seated on the porch, sobbing. But when officers approached, she whispered one thing. "The house told me to finish it." Authorities retrieved 3 days of footage Thomas had filmed. He documented Cora's home every night after midnight. One frame repeated, an image of the window. But in each file, the person behind the glass changed. Sometimes it was Cora. Sometimes it was Thomas. Sometimes it was someone else entirely. A figure crouched low, pale eyes glowing, reading. Next time, we follow a mother who finds a book left behind by the previous owner, and a voice on the phone that keeps telling her, "You're late." If this story unsettled you, let us know what you think happened between the neighbors. Did the house choose sides, or just finish what they started? Like, comment, subscribe, because the book's still open, and it's waiting.